Former CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, says he witnessed an incident where CNN tried to falsify the news. Dorsey was specifically referring to what happened in Ferguson, and I believe Jack Dorsey is being 100% honest. And what happened to Jack Dorsey? Redemption arc, everybody. Some people don't trust him. I didn't trust him. I sat down with him on Joe Rogan. We talked about a lot of things, said a lot of things. A lot of things turned out not to be true. It could just be that Jack was well-intentioned, but wrong. It could be that he was lying to me. After that interview, we talked about the ways he could improve Twitter to be fair and honest, and a path to redemption was one of those things. Never happened. I began to believe that Jack was just lying, that he was blowing smoke, as it were, telling you all the sweet nothings whispered into your ear, whispering all the sweet nothings into your ear, to make you believe that he was doing the right thing to fix the platform and try and help the country, such as decentralized social media and things like that, cryptocurrency. I didn't believe him after a certain point. I said, look, after 2 years, you can do something. But he didn't. Why? I don't know. Maybe now the real story is Jack was just constrained, that even having billions of dollars in net worth does not free you from the bonds of society. And even now, with Jack Dorsey unleashed, tweeting up a storm and just coming after people, he still says some things cannot be said. And that kind of worries me. What do you mean some things can't be said? Dude, you have beyond FU money. Cash out some of that stock, put into Bitcoin, which you're so proud of, and tell people the truth. Well, maybe not everything, but some things. So maybe it wasn't that Jack was lying. It's just that he really tried and he couldn't do it. I can respect that. And I feel bad a little bit. If I was chained down and unable to do the right thing, and I was trying as hard as I could, it would suck. Everybody thinking you're doing the wrong thing. But I also think that at a certain point, what's the real damage? Maybe there's people he knows and cares about and doesn't want to hurt. And by coming out and telling the truth, he could hurt them. At which point we enter the root of corruption. Often the desire to help those around you, your friends and your family. You don't want them to hurt. Why do you need that extra little kickback in cash? Because you want to get your kid in a good school, because you want to get your mom a house. Therein lies the problem with corruption. Sometimes it's about the individual, the person saying, I want nice things, but it's very often about protecting your family and your friends or getting them advantages and benefits over the safety, security, and well-being of everyone else. It's a challenge. But Jack Dorsey says when he was in Ferguson, he actually saw CNN try to shake things up, potentially falsify the news. I was in Ferguson as well. I believe Jack is correct. I can't say that I saw them falsify on purpose to make things worse. I can say there was an incident where Don Lemon reported there was no tear gas while I was getting tear gassed. So I'm standing on West Florissant. The cops are firing CS smoke, colloquially known as tear gas. Tear gas is a chemical irritant. Some people call pepper spray tear gas. I think that's a stretch, but it's really semantics. Well, the police said to CNN, it's just smoke. There's no tear gas. Meanwhile, our faces were on fire, and we were gassed more than one time. No, the crowd was. We were collateral damage. CNN, well, they were wrong. At the very least, they were wrong. Let's take a look at what's happening to Jack Dorsey. And I want to call back this really amazing tweet. This is from Mythicist Milwaukee back when, oh, geez, look at me. I was a little heavier back when I was on Joe Rogan. I actually have this thing where I gain weight and then lose weight and then gain weight. I think a lot of people are like that. I used to be, when I was a teenager, I was, looked like that. And then I started skating and lost weight. And then I started working and gained weight. Anyway, I digress. Myth-informed Milwaukee tweeted, in March of 2019 on Joe Rogan, Timcast asked Twitter if they would restrict a Twitter user for sharing information about vaccines. They said no outright. No outright. And that was wrong. I suppose you can say that their policy changed. That's fair. But what is going on behind the scenes? I want to talk about where things were. I want to talk about what Jack Dorsey is saying. Daily Wire reports. Former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey said on Monday evening that he knows that CNN promotes false news reporting because he witnessed the far-left network try to cause conflict during the Ferguson, Missouri riots in 2014. Dorsey made the revelation in response to a tweet from Miss Universe Iraq 2017 Sarah Abdali Idan, who said, even CNN sometimes sells false news. I know this from covering Iraq events in 2019. People need to understand every media is prone to either mistakes or deliberate corruption. Do your own investigation before believing what they're selling you. Dorsey responded, I know this from being on the streets of Ferguson during the protests and watching them try to create conflict and film it, causing the protesters to chant FCNN. Whoa! Thank you, Jack. Jack left Twitter. I think he's still on the board. Big proponent of Bitcoin. Is Jack now unleashed? The answer is yes. And we'll jump to the story in a second. From Timcast, Jack Dorsey uses Twitter to go on the offense. The former CEO has been calling out the corporate media and Twitter's board of directors in a recent flurry of tweets, but it was beyond just that. I mean, the dude's basically just had it with everybody. He's like, no, smackdown. Tremendous respect. Some people have said that he's just doing this to try and win back favor because of what is happening with Elon. Jack Dorsey apparently voted for the poison pill. A unanimous board vote to block Elon Musk from buying the company. And now Jack is coming out and, smacking people down. Some people think the goal here is to try and rally support among anti-establishment individuals so that people view Jack as some kind of Elon Musk type figure. I'm not buying it. Elon's tweet stemmed from an earlier remark that Dorsey made on the platform when he called out CNN's Brian Stelter and a columnist for the Washington Post on Monday over a tweet that took aim at Fox News host Tucker Carlson. Dorsey referenced a tweet from Stelter that stated, Tucker Carlson is always selling the same thing. He's selling doubt. Dorsey responded to the tweet by asking in a tweet, and you are selling hope? Woo, spicy. Elizabeth Spires, a leftist that appears on MSNBC, responded to Dorsey, writing, they're selling truth, which is hope agnostic. It's supposed to inform you, not make you feel some kind of way. Elon's tweet was a response to Spires' tweet. Dorsey made news over the weekend when he slammed Twitter's board of directors as entrepreneur Elon Musk tried to take over the company. Dorsey was responding to the following tweet when he made his remark. If look into the history of Twitter board, it's intriguing as I was a witness on its early beginnings, mired in plots and coups, and particularly amongst Twitter's founding members. I wish if it could be made into a Hollywood thriller one day. Was that Dorsey saying that? Dorsey responded to that. It's consistently been the dysfunction of the company. Dorsey also said big facts in response to the following statements from venture capitalist Fred Destin. What I do know for sure is that this old Silicon Valley proverb is grounded in age-old wisdom that still applies today. Good boards don't create companies, but a bad board will kill a company every time. When later asked if he was allowed to speak like this publicly, given the fact that he's still on the company's board, Dorsey responded, no. Woo! Speak more, Jack. Speak more. Timcast.com. Take a look at all this. And you are selling hope, he says to Brian Stelter. Wow. What else do we got? Jack defending Tucker Carlson. Jack responds, not defending a thing, holding up a mirror. Ooh, bravo. We made fun of Tucker Carlson the other day. We like Tucker Carlson because he tends to get the facts right, albeit sometimes a bit hyperbolic or over the top, like when he criticized M&Ms for not being sexy enough. Yeah, we're going to make fun of you, Tucker, when you do that because that's stupid. Take a look at this. These Twitter replies launched Dorsey into an online dialogue with dozens of others. Here we have Jack Dorsey mentioning that CNN was trying to fabricate news. I remember I was at a protest in Anaheim, and there was a news network, I don't want to name who, but one of the big ones, and they asked people to pose the flag. People got angry saying, you're directing protesters. Yep. Yeah, you can't do that, but they do it. And they think it's no big deal. We're just asking them to get pose for a photo, and then they sell it. All eyes have been on Dorsey in the recent week because of Elon Musk. Here we have a tweet from Jack saying the board has been the dysfunction of the company. This is where it gets interesting. Scott Wapner says, serious question for Jack. If you think the Twitter board was so dysfunctional and kept the company from being great, as you imply, either through your own tweets or replies to others, why didn't you do anything about it when you ran the company for several years? Jack said, so much to say, but nothing that can be said. That's not true, Jack. Everything can be said. The reality is you just don't want to say it because you think the outcome will be worse than saying nothing. And that can be a fair point. What I mean to say is, let me put it this way. Timcast.com just broke a story, which is, it's derivative, but the Washington Post doxed libs of TikTok, a very prominent critic of the left. In their story, they linked to 2 addresses. We did some digging, which went beyond just a cursory public search, but it was public record, and can confirm public records list the address doxed by the Washington Post Taylor Lorenz as the private home residence of libs of TikTok. there's a lot to consider here. One, maybe libs moved since then. Maybe they're not there. Sure, it's the last known private home address of the individual. I don't know why the Washington Post linked to it, but the Washington Post took the link down after a backlash. Perhaps it's because, well, as public record indicates, it's where Libs of TikTok actually lives. But we talked about this, and we have serious ethical conundrums about what you can and can't say. We were conflicted. If we confirm this is the private home address according to public records, and what I mean by that is it's the best we can do for now. It's possible people, actually live under a car in an alley. I have no idea, but the publicly listed address, that we did confirm that. Well, that can put Libs of TikTok in danger, and we don't want to do that. But then you have the conundrum of Washington Post did this. It's on them. They already posted it. People may have already found this out. People need to know what they're doing. Man. Now, in that regard, we ultimately decided people knowing that the story is not just the Washington Post saying someone's name, but listing their address. It's a wholly different story. There are people tweeting like, it's not doxing, it's just a name. And then I'm like, here's the story, read it. And they're like, whoa, I didn't know that. It's like, right. We need people to know what the Washington Post did. Of course, the Washington Post denied it to us after the fact. But it's like, I have the archive, dude. The link is there. The address is there. And the public records confirm it. Perhaps their attitude is, but we know for a fact they're not really living there. Regardless, someone is going to get hurt now because that's what you did. And the best we can indicate is we can confirm as public records indicate this to be the truth. I try to break it down that way to let you know it's not always perfect. Now, as to what Jack can't say, perhaps that's the real conundrum. Perhaps the conundrum is that Jack knows he can light things up, but people will get hurt. And he's not willing to get people hurt to reveal what's really going on. Do you trust him? Do you trust Jack Dorsey? I don't. Why? Jack, I don't trust you because you've said so many things that turned out to not be true. If you want trust, you need to be honest. Maybe you can't. Okay, then. Well, we can't trust you because you've not been honest with us ever. On April 11th, he posted a reply on Twitter in relation to a recent release of inflationary stats. He said, every administration, Republican or Democrat, has an opportunity to build trust with the public. Instead, every single time they choose deception and zero accountability. It's not the party, it's the system. You're right about that, Jack. I agree. And you know what? You are a major component of it. To be fair, Jack has admitted he's a major component of the problem, and I can respect that. Jack, if the worst case scenario is people will get hurt, I understand. But I question whether or not the worst case scenario of you telling the truth is you getting hurt. If it were me, and the worst case scenario in revealing information would be other people getting hurt. Okay, well, what do? We were in Nashville. We got a death threat. I said, I don't care. I'll do it anyway. I can take those risks for myself. And then I was told, dude, other people, little kids are going to be out there. That was really it. Little kids. It's downtown Nashville. We get a death threat. Seems credible. There's little kids. All right, I will not be the person that brings the heat signature into the map that results in collateral damage if I can avoid it. Maybe that is why Jack is saying no. But if it was just me and maybe a big empty field, I'd be like, I'll go out there and I'll do my thing. I will assume those risks and I understand what that means. And if something bad happens, it's not me being dumb. It's me assuming the risks and taking the responsibility for them. I think there's a strong possibility Jack just doesn't want to say anything because Jack's living a good life. Oh, he's saying some stuff now because he's not CEO of Twitter anymore. He can speak up. At a certain point, if it were me, here's how I describe it. I got a lot of employees. They rely on this business to function. They rely on my leadership. I rely on their capabilities and their leadership sometimes too. I don't go to, Carter's our music producer. I'll go to him and give him my thoughts, but for the most part, I rely on him to do what I don't know how to do. That's why we hire people. So there's obviously mutual respect in knowing someone has the ability to get things done if I don't. Even down to the person who gets the mail, I'm like, I can't do it. I need your help. But of course, I run the company, and without me, the company starts to break down. Even then, I have said it. If we get a threatening letter or some kind of gag order or whatever, I will put my feet up on the coffee table, grab a cigar. I don't really smoke cigars, but light it up anyway, it'll be funny. And I will read those documents and publish them and say, you will not break me. I will break myself to stop you from trying. So be it. I'm somewhat, kidding in that I don't really want to break myself with the company, but you will not be able to coerce me. I will not accept it. So with these death threats, no, I'm gonna keep. I'll go to the event. Other people that I understand. So if that's the case, I get it. I'd sure love to know what the secrets are. I'd sure love to know what happened here. Let me play this clip from Joe Rogan's show.
We're coming towards a position where people think some ideas are better than others. Therefore, as a company, we're going to restrict access to certain information.
You mean like anti-vax?
Exactly.
People?
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm trying to say is, at what point would you guys restrict someone from sharing false information about vaccines that could get someone hurt?
That is not a violation of Twitter's rules. No.
That is not a violation of Twitter's rules. So no. What happened? I mean, honestly, what happened? Why did that change? In March of 2019. It was 2019. I thought it was 2018, but I guess it was 2019. Wow, it wasn't that long ago. 3 years ago. Wow. Why did that change? I'd love it if Jack could tell us. I don't know why he won't. I want to show you this story and follow up a little bit because this is important, and it does have to do with Twitter. Washington Post journalist publishes home address of popular critic of left libs of TikTok. Reporter Taylor Lorenz has previously claimed to suffer from PTSD from being doxxed in a similar way. In an article meant to expose the person behind the popular account, Taylor Lorenz linked to a critical piece of information that exposed the private home address of the person running libs of TikTok. After the ensuing backlash, the Post removed the link. Timcast confirmed the address published is documented as the creator's private home address. As I mentioned earlier, there's a lot to break down here to understand. There's nuance. I always try to make sure you are getting as much nuance and understanding as possible so you can understand the probabilities that lie behind what it means to confirm something. Now, hard confirmation that the address is the private home address would require us getting not just a statement from libs of TikTok, but proof, like a photo of an ID, a piece of mail, or an image of them at the address. That's when you're like, okay, but even then, those things can be faked. When you get to that point, you're like, beyond a reasonable doubt. What we have here is the Washington Post published a story linking to private information of the individual, which included an address. That address, apparently, they didn't check, and it's listed as the private home address. This could mean that libs of TikTok no longer lives there. It could mean that they still do. We don't know beyond that, other than it's publicly listed. What it does mean is that, and I will also add, another address was listed, what appears to be the family address. They did this. Now, they told us, Taylor Lorenz said, I did not publish the home address, which she did. Under what circumstances, like what argument is that being made? It seems semantic. And this is the big point. Going into what Twitter does, Twitter bans doxing. Twitter allowed them to publish this story, which linked to the address. Okay, Twitter. This is where I want to get Jack's thoughts on these issues and kind of give you an update on this one. Jack, if I link to a story that links to someone's private home address, is that doxing, and would you delete the link? Would you delete the tweet? Would I get suspended? The Washington Post didn't. Now, the Washington Post did remove the links after the backlash, maybe because they were scared of a suspension. No, I don't think so. I think they would be protected. I think they're consistently protected. And now you can see all of the blue checks on Twitter cheering for this. It's time for transparency. I'm tired of the lies. When I break down this story, I try to give you as much information as possible to understand what's actually happening. I could have just come out and said, we've confirmed she published the address, end of story. What I want to make sure you really understand, because maybe there's a possibility we got something wrong. That is to say, when we report it, we say it is documented as the creator's private home address. They deny it. We're still trying to get harder confirmation, but publicly listed. This could mean a few things. By publishing this, someone could harm anyone who lives there. It could be a new tenant. It could be an old family member, or it could be the creator of libs of TikTok. Twitter's not taking the tweet down? Let's ask another question. Can you dox someone with an article? Let's say I put Taylor Lorenz's private address in this and then tweeted it out. Oh, they'd suspend me in a heartbeat, right? Probably. What if CNN published my address? You know what? I'll just tell you. On Twitter, someone published my address and Twitter wouldn't take it down. What am I supposed to do? They wouldn't take it down. And therein lies the double standard, the manipulation, and why transparency is so important. Jack, what can't be said and why can't it be said? The system is crumbling around us and on the verge of imploding with stories like this. And you can't just be like, guys, here's what's happening. Now, look, perhaps Jack really is saying a lot. So, Jack, I encourage you, just say as much as you can and do your best, because it's a net positive, you coming out and talking about CNN this way and exposing them. But we got to know. We need to know. The people need to know. Unless Jack genuinely believes it's better off that people don't know, I'd say he's wrong. I'd say it's time to stop condescending. It's time to start believing in the resilience of the human mind. For too long, people at Twitter think they must control the conversation, but it's failed every step of the way. It's not gotten better. It's only gotten worse. Maybe it's like a Chinese finger trap. Stop pulling. Give in. Let it go. Let people find their own way. In the meantime, this is what you get. Taylor Lorenz doxing someone. Well, you know what? If Elon Musk has his way and opens up Twitter to the public, doxing is freedom of speech. It really is. You are allowed to post someone's private information. I get that. And so be it. I think it's wrong, but so be it. Free speech. Let society decide. If Taylor Lorenz wants to do this, she can, and she will face the backlash for that. People on the left will still defend her, but what Twitter has done has clearly not helped. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.